Hey guys, Fallen Messiah here, in another Warcraft 3 video. In this video, I will take a look at all the in-game melee units on the Reforged graphics and see how they compare to the original design. So you might be thinking, why now? Why not 5 years ago when Reforged was first released? Doesn't this seem like beating a dead horse by now? And to answer that, I suppose in a way it does. However, I've straight up refused to give money to Blizzard for all these years with all the fiasco that went on regarding Reforged, and I just played on my 20-year-old CD key instead. Then, a couple of months back, when Blizzard finally announced the remasters of Warcraft 1, 2, and some updates to Reforged, is when I finally relented and decided to buy the entire battle chest of all 3 games. So that is why you're seeing this video in 2025. So just a quick background about myself. I'm a very old school Warcraft fan, all the way back from Warcraft 2 days that I played on my old PlayStation 1 and then later PC. And Warcraft 3 is to this day still my favorite game of all time. At this point, I no doubt have tens of thousands of hours spent playing it. So this topic is very emotional to me. Imagine if someone took something that you loved for the past 20 years and then just decided to take a steaming pile of crap on it. That is how I feel regarding these so-called Reforged graphics. Now, I will do my best, however, to remain cool, calm, collected, and as objective as possible. If I find something genuinely cool, I will say so. If I think something is bad, I won't be afraid to call it out. So I made this little test map in the editor where I gave myself units of every race, and then I will go over each and every unit and voice my opinion on it. Unlike some other remasters like for example Diablo 2 Resurrected or even recently Warcraft 2 that have the option to toggle between old and new graphics on the spot, Warcraft 3 unfortunately does not have that option. Even though I'm sure all of you know the old unit designs very well, I will still do my best to compare the new designs with old ones using resources such as Wikipedia and even the World Editor. I have already seen some of the new Reforged models, but not all, so for some models you will actually see me react for the very first time. So, without further ado, let's get straight to it. Also, notice how I'm running this old-ass game on 25 FPS because of all these new models, but I digress. So we're gonna go over human units first. And first, we're starting with perhaps the worst offender of them all. Oof, which is this paladin. Jesus Christ, I cannot deal with this. Look at this.
For honor.
How did they ever think this is a good idea?
Look how they massacred my boy.
They gave him this weird ass buzz cut. I absolutely hate it. Why? Why did they give him this haircut? This fuckboy haircut? I don't get this. What's up with this? So just for comparison's sake, this is how our beloved paladin actually looks like. This is our Warcraft 3 hero, our Uther, with this long, luscious hair, and not whatever the fuck we've been given here. So this is just absolutely atrocious. I hate absolutely everything about it. This is such a core change in the design of a character, and I just don't get this at all, but nevertheless, this is probably the worst offender so far here. I hate it. Alright, let's move past it. Peasant. Again, I don't like it. The peasant is not super offensive, but it's still different enough for it to bother me, but it's alright, I suppose. Militia, I kinda like how it looks. This is one of the better Reforged models. I like the scale mail over here. It's actually not bad. I like the attention to detail, so as far as that's concerned, you know, it's not too bad. I like the militia. Footmen, I don't know. I mean, they're like... At least visually, you can see they are indeed footies, so that hasn't changed all that much. I can excuse footies. I think footies are okay. Riflemen, I actually kind of like it. It's not bad. I like the lots of details on the beard and everything else. They didn't really mess up the Reforged all that much, so, you know, I kind of like it. Knight, I mean, the problem is that it's a reoccurring problem in all these. It's just a completely different unit. That's the main issue here. I think the Reforged graphics are pretty cool when it comes to the animals themselves. I think that they do a good job in the animal department. As far as the knight is concerned, I don't know. Like, it's not offensive, but compared to the original, it just feels a bit flat, in my opinion. So with Griffin Riders, they actually made a decision to focus on the dwarf riding the griffin instead of the bird, which was kind of the norm in the original game. I don't mind it. I actually think it looks kind of cool. I think the dwarf riding the griffin looks cool as well. The griffin himself, well detailed. Again, they really do creatures very well in Reforged. I really like the wings. The wings are very detailed. So that's something I actually kind of appreciate. But with that being said, it's definitely a different bird. It doesn't look bad. It's just different. So for example, here in the world editor, you can clearly see it's a different bird, and this is the kind of bird that we've been playing for the past 20 years, so I don't think the Reforged version is too offensive, but it's definitely quite different, but at least I don't hate it. When it comes to the priest, I don't know.
By the power of the light.
I am feeling a bit lukewarm. Again, the issue is the same, it's just not the same unit model. It's different enough for it to bother me, but I suppose it's not super offensive, you know. I wouldn't say I really like it though.
Help me.
Sorceress? I definitely prefer the Sorceress over the Priest, for sure. I think definitely looks a lot better. I find it a bit more faithful to the original Sorceress. So as seen here, the original Priest and the original Sorceress, I think that the Sorceress is slightly more faithful to the original and looks definitely better in my opinion. And moving on to the second hero, which is the Archmage. Well, first and foremost, what immediately noticeable is that he is very much bold. I didn't really notice that in the original unit model. Like, again, this is the original Archmage. Like, I never noticed that he's supposed to be bold here. I just felt he has a cap or something. Either way, I don't like it. Archmage feels really weird, and I'm definitely not vibing with it whatsoever. Moving on to the Mountain King. Now look, the original model here, really nice, bronze beard, well distinguished. But here for some reason they completely changed the color of his beard and everything, and also his face. I just can't. The eyebrows, the everything. I just hate it. I hate it. The portrait feels worse than the actual model here. Like in the model, he has these full mustache, but in the portrait, it feels like he has some kind of whiskers, like some kind of angry cat. Am I the only one seeing this? I don't know. I don't like it. Next in line is our Blood Mage, our Kael'thas. So this is the original model. This is how it looks in action. And this is how Kael'thas or Blood Mage looks like here in the game. Again, not a fan, like, but okay. It's one of those things that's just not too offensive, but I just don't like it. The face is so weird to me for some reason. It feels so emotionless, like it doesn't emote anything. The original model feels like a lot more distinguished, and again, just not a fan. I will say on a more positive note, these water elementals, the new ones, look pretty fucking sick. I actually vibe with them a lot. This is one of the best models that I've seen in Reforged thus far. And like I said earlier, they do creatures really well. Humans and humanoids, not very well, but these water elementals are pretty cool. And on a similar note, Phoenix, I like it. While you will say the original model definitely had this feeling like the fire is going out of it all the time, this one doesn't really have Doesn't really look menacing enough to me, like the original model did. But at least it's cool enough, I suppose. Siege Engine. Honestly, I don't hate it. I think Siege Engine looks pretty cool. Fairly faithful to the original as well. It's honestly pretty hard to mess this up. This is just a siege tank at the end of the day. This is how the original looks like. So as you can see, it's pretty faithful rendition actually. Spellbreaker, probably my favorite Elven unit that I've seen so far. Probably the attention of detail that the Spellbreaker has through everything. Like, I really like the detail. They definitely didn't do a bad job regarding detailing all of these units. The main problem remains is that these are not the same units. That's ultimately the crux of the issue. But as far as the detailing is concerned, it's actually pretty cool. And I like this whole thing here on the face and everything. Definitely my favorite Elven unit in the Reforged graphics so far. I honestly prefer it over the original. As far as the mortar team is concerned, I think they did a fairly good job with the mortar team. Doesn't look too different from the original. So yeah, I kind of like it. I think you can tell immediately this is this pretty similar unit, so I have no real notes on the mortar team. I think they're cool. Alright guys, we're almost done with the human race. This is the Dragonhawk Rider. I actually kind of like it. I think there's definitely more detail in the original Elven Rider here than there is on the original. The bird is not the same, but I kind of like it too. I don't think it's half bad actually. Let's see the attack.
They shall all burn.
Yeah, I'm not really vibing with the attack. But honestly, the model itself, not too bad. And this is how the bird looks like in the original. So you can see it is different, but you know, at the same time, I do not hate the Reforged version. And yeah, it's a different bird, but that's just kind of the way they did these models. And finally, the flying machine. This is the first time I'm seeing it. What is with Reforged graphics and male pattern baldness? I don't understand. Why is this rider bald? Like, what's up with that? I mean, the machine doesn't look half bad. I think it looks fine. The rider is just missing his hair, and he had hair in the original. I just don't understand what's all of that about. I think the flying machine itself is fine, but you can clearly see here in like the original, this man has hair. Like, this man clearly has hair. Like, you can see it. I just don't understand what this is all about. Okay, guys, and that was all when it comes to the human race. Now let's go and see the orcs. Orcs happen to be my favorite race, so I might be more biased here than anywhere else, but we'll see. So, we finally have a unit that's actually bold in the original game, as well as in the Reforged, which is the Blade Master. So, Blade Master, I mean... he's okay, I guess. Do I prefer the original? Absolutely. But, you know, well detailed, still has all the katana and stuff, so I guess he's not too bad. Also, they definitely gave him more clothes than he has in the original version, that's for sure. And for comparison's sake, again, this is the Blade Master from the original, and his attack animation. And now we're moving on to Peon. This is the Peon we all know and love. In the Reforged, he looks like this. No, I don't like it. I still think he looks better than the peasant. I hate the peasant. I hate his dumbass face. Peon looks slightly more faithful. I guess the less human these characters are, the better they look in Reforged, I find. But I definitely don't like it. Grunts, I like even less. Yeah, like, again, nice amount of detailing and everything, but just, I do not like it. Grunt is such an iconic unit in the Warcraft universe, and I just feel they didn't do him justice here properly. Surprisingly, where they take away some hair, they add other, so they gave him a beard even though he does not have it in the original, which is an interesting choice, I suppose. But once again, just for comparison's sake, this is the Grunt we all know and love. And this is what they did. And now we are on to the Farseer, probably my favorite unit in the entire game. I do like the way they did the wolf. Again, they really do well, all the creatures, and I like the details on the fur and everything else. I even don't hate this rendition of Farseer. It's not going to be nearly as good as the original. I don't actually hate it. And I actually even like the Spirit Wolves. I think Spirit Wolves are actually pretty fucking cool. I like what they did. I like the glow. I like, you know, how they look. They even look more menacing than in the original, so at least, you know, that's something. This is the level 1 wolf, the level 2 wolf, and this is the level 3 wolf. So I like it. I actually like the wolves. As far as the Farseer is concerned, I'm okay with him.
It is certain.
Definitely better looking than Grunt or Peon for sure. But of course, if I have to pick the original one, he is just way too iconic for me to pick anything else, really. Kodo Beast, I like it. The original Kodo didn't really have too much detail to begin with, so I actually like it a lot. There's this, you know, fat, bearded orc dude riding it, banging the drums. It gets a pass from me. Now Raiders, oh my, probably my second favorite unit in the game. So first and foremost, again, the wolves I feel are done great. Like, all this detail when it comes to fur and everything else. I think the wolf that the Raider is riding is pretty cool. The Raider himself, look at this face. That's a face not even a mother can love. What is this? This is some derpy ass shit. I do not like it whatsoever. I do not like it. I mean, when you compare it to the original, look how fierce my boy looks here. Just no. Just no. And guys, now I feel that we have reached the pinnacle of... Guys, you know how I said I'm going to be cool, calm, and collected? Well, this is perhaps the second worst, or maybe even the worst offense in the entire game, the trolls. This headhunter and this berserker, I cannot begin to tell you how disgusted I am by these models. They made them look into, you know, fucking avatars from the Avatar movie, the Na'vi, you know. How is this even remotely similar to the original? Why are they glowy and bluey like that? What the fuck, man? They look monstrous. This is an alien. This isn't a troll, this is a goddamn alien. How could that possibly be the same model in the original? Like, come on! It's not remotely similar! Are you kidding me? Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Trolls and the Paladin are by far the worst so far. And in a similar vein, there is Shadowhunter that, at the very least, they decided to cover his face for whatever reason. Obviously, in the original game, we do see his face. It's right over here. In Reforged, they cover it. But to be honest, considering what they did to trolls in the game, I'm glad they did. But, yeah, just no. Absolutely not. Let's continue with the Torrents. First of all, we have Torrent Chieftain over here.
An excellent plan.
Also, this shockwave is so mid.
Yes, chieftain.
I like the detail, I do, but his face, I don't know. I'll never get used to it. This is like, what they did is, they were heavily inspired by the World of Warcraft models. But the problem is that Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft are different games with different models, and you cannot simply transfix one onto the other and expect it to look good. It doesn't. I do not like his face, simply put.
For my ancestors.
Spirit Walker, I like the detail. I'm weirdly weirded out by this kind of backline over here. It almost feels like there's spikes. Like, it's so weird to me. The neck is humongous. And then again, Thorin, nice detailing and everything, but like, they have this such a huge fucking neck and I don't like it at all. and their face. Yet another thing that I don't like. So this is our Tauren Chieftain. I guess they are kind of necky in the original game too, but they still look a lot cooler. Meaner, fiercer in the original. In the Reforged, they look like, I don't know, cows out of a teenage animated show. Don't like it. And Spirit Walkers, yeah, I definitely prefer the original here as well. Alright, almost couple more units and we are done with the orcs. I actually like the Demolisher quite a bit, so I don't want to be a complete negative Nancy. I think the Demolisher is pretty cool. Granted, it's hard to fuck up a literal machine. Also, one thing I'm gonna appreciate here, look at this. How the entire thing recoils, and then look, as you put that ball into the machine, it kind of like shakes a little bit because of the weight. Like when it starts loading, right here, it shakes a little bit. I like that. That's the kind of attention to detail that I appreciate. So with that in mind, we have 4 more models left to go.
Yeah, what is it?
I think I said enough about the trolls. I hate the shit out of them.
I be down with that.
The bat looks cool, but
Are there enemies above?
Wind Riders. Okay. Hear me out. One of my favorite units in the game. I do not like this at all. I hate it. This is probably more mythologically faithful rendition of a wyvern because he is riding a wyvern, but I just don't like it. Very, very different look from the original game. Try to really illustrate my point further. This is an in-world edit. This wyvern, as you can see, like the face, it doesn't resemble like a lion. It's something else. It's a completely different unit. It's a completely different model. I do not appreciate the Reforged edition at all. I know that with the lion's head, it looks more like the wyvern, mythologically speaking, but it's just not what I was used to, you know? I've been playing this unit for 20 years and then they just change it. I don't like it. Okay, so to finish off the orc race, Witch Doctor, I think I said my piece about the trolls in the game. I will say I hate this one the least because it has the most amount of detail and his face is not nearly as prominent as, like, say, this. This looks definitely a hell of a lot better than this. This is awful. This is awful and I hate it. This is okay. I can vibe with this Witch Doctor. The ward looks super cool too. I really dig it.
Yes, War Chief.
Shaman.
Right away.
I don't like it. It's like they put this guy, Grunt, right? And he just slapped this wolf on top of him.
Master?
Like, it's the same goddamn unit. It's really the same goddamn unit. They just put wolf fur on top of Grunt and called it a day. I don't like it. So yeah, just give me back my original Shaman all day, every day. Absolutely prefer my original Shaman here. And finally, we have Serpent Wards. I think these Serpent Wards look pretty cool. They have kind of like this burning base here. So yeah, pretty cool. I like it. Now that we covered all the Orc units and Human units, we're going to move into the Night Elf units. Starting off with the Wisp, and what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? I told you guys that some of these units I'm actually seeing for the first time in Reforged. This is a floating elf head. Why? Just why? This is so weird. I don't even hate it. I'm just bewildered. This is... I don't know what to say. I'm just bewildered by this. This is so weird to me. And I just detonated it. I don't know what to think about that. Like, this honestly feels like a fever dream. I'm not even mad. I just feel like I took acid and this is what I got. What the fuck? Like, listen. This is the Wisp. Like, it's a spirit. Vaguely humanoid. Like, you can see this in the original. Like, it has something going on. But it's very subtle. With the Reforged model, they took subtlety. And they took the sledgehammer of that buzzcut paladin. And then they hit the absolute shit out of that subtlety. And turned it into an abomination. Okay, moving on with the Hippo and Hippo Riders. I do not hate them. I said this plenty of times before, they do creatures fairly well. Now, is it the same creature? Of course not. Do I prefer the original? I do. But with that being said, I think it's kind of cool. I like how prominent these horns are. I like the color palette.
Our time is now.
And this archer is basically pretty much exactly the same. I actually like this unit quite a lot. This archer is very well detailed. You can see that it's an archer riding this hippo, so I'm actually kind of vibing with it. I don't mind it. Here is our hippo in action, and the hippogriff rider as well. So honestly, I kind of like it. Chimera? I don't know. Now, as far as Chimera is concerned, I'm okay with it. It looks interesting, not too unlike the original, so with that in mind, it gets a pass. It's menacing enough. I dig it. Not the same unit, again, but...
On your mark.
Alright.
Standing guard. Waiting on you.
I actually kind of like the archer.
Done.
I kind of like the archer.
More.
This is, you know, how a faithful remake of a female archer, Night Elf archer, should look like. I actually kind of like it.
All too easy.
I am sworn to avenge.
I'll be honest, guys.
Your move.
I like both the
I
Huntress
shall not fear.
and the archer. I think they actually nailed it with the Night Elves for the most part. I'm gonna pretend the Wisp didn't happen,
On you.
Speak your mind.
but honestly,
As the goddess
I don't mind this at
wills.
all. I think they did a great job with Huntress and Archer, so that gets a plus for me. Demon Hunter. Let's see the immolation. Immolation looks pretty cool, actually. Not gonna lie. But those are the effects, not the units themselves. I think he looks pretty cool. It's really hard to fuck up a Demon Hunter. Nice detailing and his signature weapons and everything. This is actually... Oh, I understand. Oh, this is a Metamorphosis version? Really? What? Look at this. What? What? Where's the transformation? Nevertheless,
The time has come.
I like it. I like the Demon Hunter. Do I think the original is better? Absolutely, but I actually kind of like it. I don't think they did a bad job with the Demon Hunter here. Now let's compare all these units. This is the original Archer. Honestly, this is probably the first unit I can say that I prefer the Reforged version. So I like the Archer of the Reforged. The original always felt a bit too derpy for me, to be quite honest. You know? I actually like the Reforged version better. Now, the Huntress is a little bit redesigned because we have her full face visible and everything instead of her signature helm and everything. But again, I actually prefer the Reforged version of the Huntress, so honestly, not too bad. Demon Hunter, I still feel the original is absolutely superior, but at least I didn't fuck it up. I think the Reforged version of Demon Hunter is fairly cool, fairly okay. Okay, when it comes to the Druid of the Claw, I do not like it. This looks just any standard creep, any standard bear. Like, it's cool, but this is not Druid of the Claw. I don't know. I mean, it's not too bad, I suppose. It's fine enough, in my opinion, but it's just not... It's not the same kind of bear. It's just not. Druid of the Claw, Night Elf form.
Anodora.
Honestly, not bad.
My path is clear.
I don't see anything too offensive here. I actually kind of think it's okay. Yeah, I could definitely vibe with this. Druid of the Talon, honestly, I do prefer the original. I do. But Look at this sick ass like green beard. I dig that. I kind of dig that, you know, and the stuff and everything. I have to say, out of all the races, I think they did a fairly good job with the Night Elves, surprisingly.
Brothers.
And the back, look at the amount of detailing work, actually. I'm actually kind of almost impressed. Look at all the detailing.
It has begun.
I don't know, I definitely fuck with this Druid of the Talon.
Where
Druid of
shall I
Claw,
sleep?
okay, it's fine. Druid of Talon, honestly, not bad. Now, of course, your mileage may vary. It's a different model. The beard is definitely different colored. It's not the same model, so I can understand why someone else might not like it. I actually honestly think I prefer the Reforged version. The sick-ass green beard, I kind of prefer it. I'm gonna be honest. I said at the beginning that I'll be honest even if the things are better, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. Druid of the Claw, I don't know what to think. I think they did a fair enough job. I still think the original is slightly better. The bear form is a lot better in the original, but it's not too bad either way. Oh man, what is this?
Badly.
What is this? What the fuck is this?
I'm game.
This looks like
Making trails.
13-year-old girl with half human, half... What the fuck is this?
I'm game.
Oh man, I do not like it.
Making trails.
I like the galloping. The galloping is cool.
Taste my spear.
The attack is cool.
Gladly.
Even the model is kind of cool, but I can't get over this portrait. This portrait, I do not like
I'm
it.
game.
I like the detailing.
For the trees.
Like you can see that it's a fawn. Is that the animal type, right? You get the spots and everything. I appreciate the detailing, the work that took into it, and everything else.
Making trails.
I even kind of like the weird ass color.
For the
I
trees.
cannot get over this portrait. This portrait needs to be better. This is just
I'm game.
no. And this is the drive from the original. Your mileage may vary. You don't really. Let's actually open the editor because you might not see the body here all too well. Alright guys, this is as much of a deep dive as I can possibly offer with the original model. So clearly there are a couple of things quite different here. First of all, the Reforged definitely took a lot more time to differentiate the bottom of the body from the top, as opposed to the original model where things are a little bit more uniform, shall we say. I actually kind of like the Reforged version as well. Really, it's just the portrait that bothers me. I think that the Reforged version is pretty cool as well. The original one is cool, but the Reforged one is also cool in my opinion. Okay guys, moving into the Princess of the Moon. Now, what they did in Reforged with all of these models is that they took the attention to the rider instead of the creature that is being ridden, which I think is probably a good approach, but it's a little bit distracting if it's not something you're used to. I don't mind this model. Now, I just don't know how much in common it has with the original. To be honest, you don't really see all that much the original Night Elf unit riding this panther, tiger, what have you. The shadow melt here is really distracting me from seeing this model up close and personal. I do not hate it. I think the white tiger is definitely cooler in the original game, which is pretty weird considering that I did say they do animals better in the Reforged, or at least well, but in this case, look at this critter. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Look at the walk, look at the wobble.
Trust in my command.
I like it. I like it, but I don't really care about the Princess of the Moon too much. So this is the original sort of tiger that she's riding. You can see that you can slightly see her face in the original, but it's really not detailed at all. So they can get away with giving her a bit more features in Reforged. So I'm okay with that. It's not wowing me, but I think it's not offensive in my opinion. Speaking of offensive, what is this? What on earth is this? I don't understand this choice of completely obscuring the face of the Warden when we already have the face in the original. It's so weird how they do that. They did it with the Shadow Hunter too, but with the Warden, it's like so odd. I don't think she looks bad, but how can I comment on her when her main feature, her face, is just hidden? The everything else looks fine. It's well detailed, the chakram and everything, but yeah, not the biggest fan for sure. I guess you don't see the full extent of her face even in the original. We still see something. In Reforged, her entire face is obstructed. I'm gonna take the original Warden for sure. Moving on to the Keeper of the Grove. Look at this majestic face. Look at it. The Nature's Guardian. The iconic hero, Cenarius. And Reforged gave us
For Kalimdor,
this pretty boy.
naturally.
I don't know what to think about this. This is like... Look at the abs! Holy shit, bro. This is like... dude from a L'Oreal commercial or something. You know?
Naturally.
Like, straight out of the runway. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. Keeper of the Grove, let's see the Treants as well. Treants are fine. Again, it's hard thing to fuck up. I like him. I think they're good. I think they're decent. I'm not sure about the Keeper, guys. What do you think? I love the detailing work. I think they did a fine job, but it's just not the same unit. That's the problem. Like, if you didn't call this unit Keeper of the Grove, that would be fine, but you did. I can't okay this. It's just not the same unit. Glaive Thrower? It's decent enough. And there's a little nice face here as well. Kind of like eyes and a mouth. That's kind of odd. And this is the Glaive Thrower. You can see that the original has some kind of a face here as well. Over here. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Moving on to the Mountain Giant. Mountain Giant is also a very iconic Night Elf unit. You can see his animation here. Here's a Mountain Giant. I'll be honest, I like it. I like it a lot. I think they did a fantastic job. Look at the amount of detailing on this Mountain Giant. I will dig it. I think he looks hella cooler than the original. I'll be honest, guys, this Mountain Giant looks dope. Look at the detail on the wood. I love it. Perhaps my favorite unit thus far. For sure. Alright, we are nearing the end of Night Elf units. Fairy Dragon looks odd. Looks like some kind of chameleon, some kind of small lizard as opposed to a dragon. I will say the wings are beautiful. The little moons on them, the purple and everything, I really dig that. I am not the biggest fan of the face, however. Like, you can clearly see, not even remotely the same. Like, this is just kind of more like a fairy than a goddamn lizard here. And I strongly prefer the original. I like the amount of detail. I like the wings from the Reforged as well. Great job with that. But the face is just... nah. Don't like it. Druid of the Talon, looking just like pretty much your ordinary kind of talons, the raven, bird sort of thing, so that's okay. Nothing too spectacular. I like it. I think it's fine. Avatar of Vengeance, modeled after the Warden. I like the original strongly, even though this one looks cool, but again, for me, the most important part is the face, because face is also a portrait. It's a portrait, and it's like portrait, right? But it's also here as well. So, you know, it's the most important thing. I like the detailing and kind of like the ethereal look that the avatar has, but I don't know. Spirit of Vengeance, I like it. It's fine. I think I prefer the original, however, but it's fine enough. Owl Scout looks pretty cool. Nothing to complain about. I feel like they went for this blue hue instead of the green one in the original. Yeah, the original is very greenish. They went with the blue. I kind of prefer the original, not gonna lie, but I don't mind the Reforged version. Avatar of Vengeance, oh yeah, for sure. For sure. the original one is absolutely cooler, in my opinion. Although I do appreciate detailing work in the remastered version, the reforged version, whatever. And Spirit of Vengeance, I definitely prefer the original version as well. Alright guys, and now that we've covered all the other races, we're gonna finish off with Undead. So my impression so far, generally speaking, Orc units, not very good. Human units, not very good. Night Elf units, surprisingly actually good in my opinion. So, Mountain Giant, for sure, my favorite of the ones we've seen so far. I'm also quite partial to the Druid of the Talon, and also Archer and the Huntress. Okay, now moving on with the Undead. Okay, Destroyer. Immediately, I am not pleased with this. This looks like, you know, the Anubis from Egyptian mythology, sure, but that is not the original unit model. If you didn't call this Destroyer and you called it something else and you placed it into a custom map, I would be like, hey, pretty cool unit. But that's not the same unit. That's ultimately the crux of the entire issue, isn't it? For what it's worth, I think this Destroyer looks dope. I really like it. But, like, it's obvious what I'm talking about, right? It's so different. It's quite different. I like the detailing work, I do. I like the attention to detail and amount of details as well, but unit is just not the same. I prefer the original Destroyer for sure. Alright, let's move into Death Knight. Death Knight is one of the most iconic heroes in the game, the Undead Artist. Let's see the Reforged rendition. And there we have it, this is the Emo Artist. Okay. So again, my complaints are fairly similar across the board. First of all, I have to say, this horse looks so fucking cool. I love the amount of details. Yet again, Frostmourne looks pretty sick. Not gonna lie, really cool. Overall, I don't mind it. I just wish that the actual model is a bit different. This looks like an old man. An old man with gray hair. This does not look like someone who has had their soul stolen. That's the problem here, right?
My patience has ended.
Let's see the death coil.
As you order.
Alright.
Let
I like everything but the face, because he looks like some kind of weird old man as opposed to an actual undead. Alright, moving on with the Lich. Interesting. I mean, I like it. I like the Lich. It's cool. But again, this is the original Lich. I think the original is definitely a lot cooler, so, you know, whatever. It's okay. The original, a lot better, in my opinion. Next up, Frostworm. Okay. Not bad, not too bad. It looks pretty cool. I like, you know, this kind of like frost skeletally sort of insides. It's pretty dope. Let's see the attack. I don't hate it. I think the Frostworm looks pretty cool. Honestly, I think it's about as cool as the original. Pretty much the same. Even a little bit better with all this extra, you know, frost sort of insides that are glowing. I like it. It's cool. Moving on with the obsidian statue. Again, same complaint as with the Destroyer. It's just not the same goddamn unit. It does look cool and everything else, you know. It's nice. But it's just not the same unit. I prefer the original. Alright, now let's take a close look at the summoned units. This is the Skeletal Mage, Skeletal Warrior. I don't know. I kind of like the original Warrior better. Skeletal Mage in Reforged looks pretty cool though, I'm not gonna lie. Beetles? Huh. I will say this. These beetles in the Reforged look definitely more menacing. So, kind of vibing with them. I still prefer the originals, but they're nice. I think Skeletal Mage is probably the best of the bunch here. So this is the Carrion Beetle. So definitely in the Reforged it looks more menacing. But this is iconic, so I don't know what to think. Skeletal Mage. I kind of prefer the original, not gonna lie. But I will say this is definitely one of the better summons in Reforged, for sure. Skilled Warrior is such an iconic Warcraft 3 unit. I just cannot, like... No, this one is definitely better, for sure. Alright guys, moving on. Let's go and see the Crypt Fiend. This is the stuff of nightmares. Holy shit. Okay, you know what? You know what? I kind of dig it. I kind of dig it. These, like, arachnophobia-inducing eyes. It definitely looks menacing enough. I kind of dig it. Crypt Lord also, you know what? I don't hate it. Look at the detailing. Look how polished his kind of shell looks like. I'll be honest. I prefer this Crypt Lord. I think this is a very faithful rendition of the original. Extremely well detailed. I love how he looks. Definitely a thumbs up for me. Crypt Fiend as well. I actually prefer the Reforged Crypt Fiend. It looks more menacing. It definitely induces arachnophobia if you have one. It's iconic for sure, but I kind of prefer the Reforged one, not gonna lie. Crypt Lord as well. In Reforged, he really looks beautiful, for lack of a better word, and so detailed and everything. So yeah, thumbs up for me, for sure. Alright guys, just a couple more units and we are done with the entire showcase. Let's start with the Dreadlord. I'll be straight up with you. Dreadlord, an iconic character. I do not like this rendition whatsoever. He looks like a middle-aged dude in a punk concert. Like, what the fuck is this? Let's see. I like the wings, again. They do detailing really well, but it's just not the same Dreadlord, and I do not like this whatsoever. This is the Dreadlord that we know and love, and honestly, it's not even close. It's not even close. This one is so much better. Ghoul, I definitely prefer the original. I do appreciate the efforts that have been done here, though. It looks pretty spooky and scary, and honestly, I don't mind it. It doesn't look too bad. So I could definitely, you know, give the Ghoul a thumbs up, but the original one is iconic and I feel is definitely better. Here's the original one, but honestly, it's not that much of a difference. So, you know, I appreciate the direction they took. Moving on to the Gargoyle and the Stone Form Gargoyle. You can't really see the Stone Form very much, but it's more the same, just, well, stony. It looks cool. It's a Gargoyle. Now, is it a better Gargoyle than the original? For me, no. This design is just iconic. It's like a staple of the Undead race for the past 20 plus years. I strongly prefer this version. Moving on with the Acolyte. Some pretty sick details, not gonna lie. I like it. I prefer the original Acolyte for sure, because the original Acolyte looks like a dead person. Well, this one doesn't really. He looks like a cyber goth fan on a rave or something. He doesn't look like an undead dude. The original one is definitely superior. Shade looks so weird. Kind of like Deadpool in a way. Am I crazy? But not in a good way, right? Yeah, I strongly prefer the original one. And these are the original models that I'm talking about. This is the iconic Acolyte. He clearly looks dead as shit here, as opposed to, you know, a goth in a rave that Reforged made him. Yeah, these models are just so iconic. They're really hard to beat. And the Shade as well. Like, this is just better. The original one is better. Next one, the Abomination. Like, again, I appreciate the detailing. Look at the dump, dude. Look how fucking thick this Abomination is. What the fuck? He has no business being so thick. What the fuck? Anyway, no, the original one is definitely better. And you can see the original right here. It's just an iconic model. It's really hard to beat. But as far as Reforged is concerned, it's not too bad, so it's okay. Meat Wagon? I like the splat. It's decent. Like, honestly, can't go too wrong with a mechanical contraption. They've already proven they can do a good job with it. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool overall. Not too different from the original, so that's fine. This is the original meat wagon, pretty faithful rendition, not too bad. Alright, and we are nearing the end. Now with just 2 more units remaining. First of all, we have Necromancer. I like it. I think the Necro is pretty cool. Again, detailing pretty sick. Look at all the robes and this book and the staff. It's pretty cool, but like, again, the face, not the same. But this is definitely the best undead human that they've made so far. And again, this is the original version. It's a very, very iconic kind of model. Very, very hard to beat. But for what it's worth, I think that Reforged did a fairly good job with it. And last but not least, we have the Banshee. I like the Banshee. I actually kind of dig it. Or her, shall I say. Maybe even better than the original. She looks freaky and spooky as fuck. I don't know. Let's compare, shall we? Yeah, honestly, the original Banshee, nothing special, really. I actually prefer the Reforged model, for better or worse. Yeah, so there you have it, guys. I know it's been a bit of a long video, but I appreciate you sticking around. So this has been my deep dive for every single unit in the game in Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne. So overall, here is my final takeaway from this. The cardinal sin that they did was they messed with the original unit designs. They had no business doing so. With that being said, certain things are definitely better than the others. Generally speaking, they do a very good job on creatures, machinery, and non-human and humanoid units. When it comes to humans and orcs, I am very much dissatisfied with the way they portray them. By orcs, I also mean taurens and trolls and everything of that nature. The worst offending unit is definitely the paladin and the troll berserker. I hate them. I hate what they've done with them. I don't care about grunts particularly either. Peons, peasants, I don't like them whatsoever. On the other hand, Night Elves were, in my opinion at least, surprisingly well done. Not every unit is great, but basic units like Huntresses and Archers, honestly, even better than the original. Again, this is just my opinion. Yours is probably going to be different. Undead is a mixed bag. Some of them, okay, others, not so much. The main takeaway from all this, though, is that even though I appreciate the effort that went into these models, ultimately, I cannot agree with the decision to, in some ways, completely redesign the way that the unit looks, as opposed to simply upscaling it. That is the crux of the matter at the end of the day. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any opinions about this matter, feel free to voice it down in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you want, also please consider subscribing, as it really means a lot to a small channel like mine. These videos take a long time to make, and I would really appreciate it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Fallen Messiah, and I'll see you in the next one.